I always say that I don't want these videos to go too long, and then I start yapping for half an hour. I don't want these videos to go too long. But then again, I feel like the videos that go short get more views, and I'm trying to avoid the views as much as possible. Even if I'm uploading. That makes sense. But I think I'm right out today. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I want to just lounge it all day. But if I don't do what I have to do today, and tomorrow I find myself having not read the reading that I needed to read, having just had something cast to the side, right? Like whatever's written down here. If I find myself not doing this, for the most part, the important stuff is that pre-reading and writing. That's the important stuff. If I don't do that by tomorrow, but then again, all the stuff I'm trying to do before then is. So I'm gonna be really concise. I'd say don't do that. You know, if I ever had like advice for somebody, I'd say like, don't fill your day up with a whole bunch of shit you have to do, and then like make the important stuff the last thing. You know, just do it first. Like if I were you right now, I would just write. If I were you and I didn't have this stupid mindset that I always have about filling my day up with shit, my morning, and I gotta go some places, then eventually I get to sit down and write. If I wasn't me and I was you and I had the ability to just write, I would just write. Like not in terms of how like the previous videos, but I would write. I would write. I wouldn't care how long or why. I would just sit and write. But my stupid brain decides that for the day to be fulfilled, I need to do all sorts of things. Things that'll get me tired by the time I have to write and by the time I have to do some other stuff. But yeah, I would say if I weren't me, I'd spend probably most of my days writing. There's times and places, you know, I've definitely filled my day up with things that I've decided to do. It's not a have, it's not a must, it's not a need. Just decided I have to go there and there before I go there. And then write. Which is kind of dumb. Oh, it is dumb. I would probably be better off if I just wrote right now. If I just read right now. I probably would be. But I don't know, I've already set my heart on the things are or like the motion of the day. So it's okay to think things sometimes, you know, to like rethink. I find myself in stories sometimes when you just sort of grab a character, you grab like a story beat, and to just question the entire story and say like, well, what if it just was something entirely different? And I think I've been going through that emotion quite a lot recently, and it's helping me. It's definitely, as a writer, it helps me solidify what I'm doing and make a solid piece of work. Like I wrote this idea down for one of the stories, the big one, you know, the big one that I'm planning on doing next after I finish this short story. And I think I might actually be more grateful because the fact that I get to even say that. But yeah, I've pretty much wrote down, you know, I had a couple of character ideas in the previous pages. For example, story idea, the man I met on the bus the other day. And I was like, okay, well, he's an interesting lad. And I thought, okay, well, what if you make his entire chapter inside the book a chapter of a guy who starts in the place we talk about but goes far out. So you get to explore Newcastle in a way that, you can say, as he stops through these places, like maybe you can go through the characters that get on or something and make it really Mrs. Dalloway esque. I've got to write that down. You know, and I had an idea for. I was talking to my cousin, the same guy who said like the donut idea, and he said that like someone like my brother, he's like I really find it hard for him to succeed because it seems like evil always finds him. And that was a take that I had on my brother that my like I just never heard. It was really fresh, and when my cousin said it, I was like, wow. I gotta think. I gotta think because there's a character. There's a character in there. Mind you, there's also like the harshness of damn that's my family. That really hurts because it is true. You know, but I had to write it down. I really had to use inspiration for what you know, he is the story essentially. People like him, that's the people I'm trying to write. And then I think the other character I've got written down here, I'm not too keen on this one, but I'm thinking in some way it could make a good story beat comedically, and it depends on where he gets put. Because if I'm doing X amount of characters with perspectives inside of an interlocking story on one street with a message to be told, the messages have to be overall bleak and dark and a bit depressing. Whenever I like Dubliners, Jesus, I'm literally writing Dubliners. I'm literally writing Dubliners. What am I doing? I have to. I'm literally writing Dubliners. I didn't get a chance to even think about that for a minute. Yeah, pretty much. If I'm gonna write Dubliners, then I'm gonna have to. Joyce. Joyce's characters are all interesting. All his family is interesting. And I might fall into a trap here because if I take one character, like the guy on the bus, for example, the guy on the bus, I think I'll do a lot of over the shoulder work and a lot of heavy description of the man's mind and his process and the way he sees the world. And I think obviously he's going to be quite, not racist, but he's going to be in that in between, not progressive yet. We're not in the 20s, and not a full on 1970s, hawk and the hard R type of racist. He's in between, like the if you take the environment I'm trying to write, it was an environment which adopted a lot of. I mean, people should know a story that I can't quite remember. Road Home or something. Navi will know it. It's about this Eastern European guy who comes to the UK to find a good job and all sorts. And that was early 2000s, right, when they didn't need the visa and stuff. That's the area that we're in. And but there used to be a whole bunch of Romanians, there used to be a whole bunch of Czechs, and you know, well, I mean, when my friends, I had friends come from Congo, from Nigeria, from Zim, so it's like you're in a time where the the races really start to homogenize, and the community becomes one within a whole bunch of different races. The Czechs, the Romanians, the Nigerians, the Zimbabweans, the through and through Geordies, all sort of mashed into one area. And this character sort of one of the Geordie characters, so you have to go through that mindset, you have to go through that process, and well, the historical mindset of it, even if it's only 20 years ago. And absolutely, I know I'm writing Dubliners, but I've got to write it in my own way. I'm writing Dubliners slash Canary Row, right? Like that's the thing here. It's a story of Dubliners on Canary Row. Like that's even Canary Row does take that. I mean, Doc goes quite far out, and the gang goes with the car, and then you have the breakdown, and the lads never see. That's a line that just like in terms of chronology, I'm like, this is too like it gives away too much, and it puts me in a time in the story that I'm a little bit confused on. But if you really take that and you look at it and you know that there's going to be more chapters and there's going to be more story told, and it makes more sense as you read. That one line that this guy gets jailed and they don't see him for X amount of time at that like chapter 5 mark or whatever is hilarious. But I'm gonna finish this before it gets to 1:30. So yeah, if I were you, I would write right now. But I'm meddling with ideas. I've got to go do the Yeti stuff, and then, I really get to do this just as a big privilege. But this also is, it's not exactly my work of art. It's not my magnum opus. It's not piece de resistance, but it's this is an important work in my catalogue, and I need to get it right. So I'm looking at characters. Mrs. Dalloway-esque, Dubliners, Canary Row. I need more female characters. The guy's mom, the guy in the bus. Her like that could really show that interconnecting community and the family part of it. Because say you go from a chapter from like say you do go from this chapter where I introduce a heavy, and I'm not fully set on stone on this, but I introduce a heavy topic with a character, the guy I was about to mention, that wants to tear down Biker Wall, right? That's his whole thing. He wants to tear down Biker Wall and bring back the old community. And he's missed the nostalgia, you know? And I come in hard hitting. I come in heavy with that, And I come in and he's a character that critiques a whole bunch of people, he's always commenting on people like Circa's photography. He's always commenting on what the guy Erskine and his design. He's always commenting on Thatcher, and he really wants to go back to old Biker. Maybe make him some like old head. I was thinking about some young character because I feel like that's the type of stuff I'm into now. Is break down that wall, but maybe make him some old head. Yeah, and see, this is an idea that I have to meddle with, and it might go to the scrap bin, but this is what I'm thinking, And then bring in a character who lives inside that world and struggles deeply with that world, with the drugs, with the poverty, with the despair, So you bring up a character who has a lot to say and lays down the law of the land. Then you bring in the law of the land, And then you bring a man trying to get out of the land rather than stay in. And then you bring in that man's mother. Now, that's the thing, is I'm really comfortable with trying that idea. I'm comfortable with trying it. I'm happy with trying it. I like that it could work. But there's also, if I go back in the paper, there's also core ideas, There's a double spread here. There's core ideas and themes and stuff I'm trying to plot out, and I'm like, well, does this coincide with this? So you really have to make that, whatever the structure is, in which chapter I present characters and ideas, it's gonna have to go with the overall tone and theme. So I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to think about that and go through that. You know. I think I'm cooking. Yeah. I was thinking, I have the donut thing and the opening lines I wanted to tell, and I could easily as well say that this character, this guy, feels that, and then go through there, and I think I might be onto something here. But I genuinely want to discuss it with Electra, with like I want to, ooh, I tell you what, I'm gonna write this down, and I'm gonna plot this out, and then I'm gonna email the guy, and I'm gonna upload this video and play the sax. There's an idea here. Just to remind me if I need to come back to this video. This is what I'm thinking. You've got the initial donut idea, and you've got the Dubliners. You've got Cannery Row. You've got your characters. You've got one that's Mrs. Dalloway-esque, and then you've got his mom. Okay, we know this guy pretty deeply. We know him pretty in depth, so we're fine with him. Other characters, not so much. The opening line about everything that we're on Shields Road, tweak that, work with that a bit, but you can make that a part of the first guy. You can really show that that's through a perspective. You can show that lens, so it can come across as an opening statement in a novel, but then you can also justify and mellow it out if need be by showing it through perspective. Find the ideas there. You find these characters and open that up. Open that idea up and see how far you can stretch it. And work with that structure. See how you can solidify that structure. See how you can tear it down and rebuild it. I'm already over my time limit. I'm just gonna write something down here, so I may as well just end the video. Write, absolutely right. When you find yourself in a position to when you have ideas, write them down without a doubt. I'm gonna be late probably. But so be it. So be it. Just accept the day as it is. Accept times as they are, and accept life as it comes. If I'm 30 minutes late, it is what it is. Read and so on. It is what it is. Just go ahead and be happy that you have a life, and then go live it. I get to be a writer. Why am I so stressed about all this ins and outs? I got to leave and do this and this and that. I need to write this down before anything else, because this is a quality idea, and I need to email that guy because I really want to know. I said I was in a mood of learning, and I want this story to be good. I can't do it myself. I need supervision. Really for the masters, you're gonna get a supervisor, but it's the same with like a PhD. It's a supervisor light, and I need to take advantage of this. I want to take advantage of this. I want this story to be really good, and I need this guy's opinion especially, because I did a Cannery Row-esque journey from one guy's house to his death, where he was sort of navigating biker and then he would OD somewhere, and I like that story. It was a nice snapshot, and it'll work well in the grander scheme of them all. But yeah, I have to go loose now. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I gotta end the video. This video's been really heavy writing, heavy specific, but that's the thing, innit? You're not gonna watch me talk about my. Go write your own stuff. Now.